The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. I hope you're doing well. I'm looking forward to a visit coming up. That'll be kind of fun, something a little different. It's funny in life. People for a long time had a hard time saying, I don't know, I'm not sure. And I think something flipped in the last 5 or so years. And I get that answer a lot, way too much now. People have become too comfortable saying, I don't know. And one of the things that you find yourself coaching people through in the workplace and reports are, hey, take a guess, take a shot at it. Maybe you can figure out a little bit of what's going on. Maybe your hypothesis might be interesting. So don't lead so much with I don't know. But anyway, here's some mail that is a classic I don't know mail, and I don't know if a hypothesis should have been given, but it feels like the writer may have a hypothesis, and they just don't want to say it. So they're posing it in kind of a phony I don't know. I'm sorry, that's not fair. Let's assume good intentions from this mail. It says, hello, Perch. I listen to your show all the time, and more importantly, I read the comments. More importantly, you jerk. Anyway, more importantly, the comments. All right, fine. We get the ad revenue either way, you bastards. How do you feel about that? All right, back to the mail. One thing that confuses me, though, are the whiners. And I'm not just talking mumbles. Okay, thank you. You've redeemed yourself. I'm not just talking mumbles. I'm talking the people who seem to have a personal grudge against comic creators. I'm not just talking, I don't like the comic, or I didn't like the way Zeb Wells wrote Spider-Man this month. I'm talking these theories about comic creators like they are the epitome, you see that word a lot, the epitome of supervillainy. I see people in the comments of your videos talking about writers and speculating that they have mental issues, that they are sick fanatics, pedophiles, the like. It's not just that they write bad comics, it's they are truly despicable people who have no understanding of what heroism even is, with talk of how these people go through life. My question is, can you think of any other industry where the fan base has responded this way? Imagine how absurd it would be if you went to websites and found people who used to collect G.I. Joe or Barbie toys talking about woke libtard Barbie creators and that they must all be psychopaths. That seems really weird to me. And it feels like these comic creators are living rent-free in these losers' heads. What do you think about that? What was the question in there? I'm not entirely sure. Is it that people jump to conclusions about what may or may not be happening in people's lives? Yes, probably so. I think that's true. I think a lot of people certainly jump to conclusions about what's going on in people's lives. Does it happen in other fandoms? I mean, I'm sure it does. Like, I've never gone to look. I mentioned this before. I had a brief encounter with the doll fan group in Twitter, and let me tell you, those people were insane. Insane. I've never seen so many people who, like, proudly in their profile talked about being mentally ill, autistic, psychopathic, like just anyway, some crazy people, crazy. But I'm sure other fandoms are this way. It's not just comics. Of course, it's not just comics. I mean, ever since the internet kind of got created and people figured out the message board. I mean, look, I used to hang out on a lot of wrestling message boards. I'll tell you, there was similar things. There's all this speculation about what Vince McMahon was up to, what Eric Bischoff was up to, what Vince Russo was up to. And not just like these people are putting on a crappy show, but, Vince must secretly hate children. Or this is what people do. They speculate. I don't know if there's anything deeper in that other than, some people really want to find meaning in other people's lives. I don't know why. I kind of failed to see the point in a lot of it, but be that as it may. I think, I don't know. I feel like I'm giving a reason for something that kind of has no reason. I think that, unlike some of these other industries, you don't see this as much in movies. All you do a little bit. But the comic creators joined social media along with the fans, or the Warren Ellis boards, or the Bendis boards, or wherever they happen to go. Over on CBR, the John Byrne boards, whatever. The creators and the fans got into the same board, and then the creators, who by and large, I mean, these people are not priests. They're not, they're not politicians. They're people who generally make probably less than you do in a year. And so if you get spicy as a fan, they get spicy back, or maybe they get spicy before you get spicy. Who knows? But they got in, they started brawling, and that led to kind of it feeling personal. I think if you ever bought, and I've said this to creators before, and I don't know that anybody's ever listened, to be honest, but if you're a creator of something like a Spider-Man, or some kind of, for lack of a better word, a handcrafted book, and you're the face behind the curtain. Nobody knows you exist. They know your name, certainly, but mostly they're there to buy Spider-Man. And then one day they stumble across you, and it's like never meet your heroes. The person who brought this Spider-Man adventure of heroism, is on message board saying we have to destroy capitalism, and Nicaragua has the best government. I just who knows? I mean, just like you get these people who voice crazy ass things. Or, maybe it's not crazy. It's just their opinion. I don't know. But anyway, they voice these things, and it doesn't line up with, Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock this week. I mean, I'll never forget this, but it's true. I remember, a customer coming into the store, and they had been reading Dan Slott's book, and then, didn't love it, didn't hate it, kind of in the middle. And for the first time saw Dan Slott. And I remember the customer goes, I don't understand how somebody who writes an athletic superhero could be so obese. And I'm not joking. Like, that was the comment. And it was a dumb comment in a lot of ways, or not dumb, just funny, naively funny. I don't know. It was just kind of funny because, the writer, you don't have to be in shape to write a comic. Like, you're not out there, practicing the adventures that you're then writing for Spider-Man. You can look any way you want. But it was the person, the fan, the customer was honestly shocked and kind of confused. How could this heavy guy? Probably why I make jokes about Dan Slott. I shouldn't, but they're just too big to ignore. Okay, sorry. Anyway, that's cruel. But the person was genuinely surprised. I think that's a lot of what's happened in comics, and when you look at why some of the fans don't just say, hey, I hate Tom King, but go that extra mile to say he's got to be a, whatever, groomer, or, a communist, or a sociopath, or just whatever. I mean, it's because they got to interact a little bit with this person, or see this person, kind of the person behind the comics, and it became more about just the comic. And then the thing that I've told creators before, I said I don't think they always get, is that there's a love and attachment to a character, to a fictional character like a Superman or a Spider-Man. You get this feeling of personal connection as a reader. And then when, someone who is involved in that creation turns out to be mildly crazy, or at least very different from you, it's more jarring. It's not like if you go and you buy a trash can for your house from, say, Rubbermaid. I don't know. Did they make trash cans? I think so. I'm like desperately thinking about, all right, we'll do something easier that I'm sure is true. Hefty makes garbage bags. I know this because there's a commercial where they say Hefty 500 times, so they're proving this bag will break. Anyway, Hefty makes garbage bags. And many of you have probably bought Hefty garbage bags and used them in your home. If you discovered one day that the president of Hefty's garbage bags, was a socialist and hated capitalism and was never going to vote for Donald Trump, would you care? Some of you may. I mean, I'll stop buying those bags. I mean, if it gets enough attention, you probably would. But generally, you're not going to feel this emotional need to want to get into the backstory and life of the guy who's running the Hefty's garbage bag business, because you don't have an emotional attachment to the garbage bag. You're just using it for garbage. Whereas in comics, you are getting an emotional attachment to that product. And so when the creator turns out to be something very different from what you expect, it feels more personal. And that's not that's not something the creators should, have to, like, okay, you can never show your opinion. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you reasons for things. That's why people get worked up, because of that. When you have an emotional attachment to something, you get worked up. By the way, this knife cuts both ways, because when creators are like, I don't understand why the fans are so pissed off about this, because you create an emotional connection with them. That's why. It's why pulling the rug out from under them with things like, hey, we're going to do a Batman Catwoman wedding. It's going to be for reals. Ha ha, psych, you dumbass, man. They take that personal, because you built a personal relationship with them, whether you wanted to or not. And I've said this to creators before, and I always get this kind of like, hey, I'm just doing a job, man. Like, that's a defense. Like, I'm just doing a job. I was just hired to write a comic. I'm like, that's nice. Doesn't make it not true. Whether you intended to create an emotional connection or not, that was the job you signed up for. Maybe you should go sell garbage bags. That's where some of your comics are going anyway. Sorry. Anyway, that's the nature of this business. That's one of the perks. You can't have the perk and then ignore it when it's not convenient to you. And that's some of what goes on here. The perk is, hey, I get to work in an industry where, fans come to a convention and they get super excited and horny to see me. They want me to sign things, and I get to be like a little celebrity for a day. And I get to work on these characters that are, yeah, that's pretty cool. The other side to that is you built up an emotional connection to that same person buying your comic. And so if you do something to really piss them off, they're going to be extra angry about it. So you take the good with the bad. It's a business you're in. It's not so that, don't bitch about it. But I mean, I don't know. As to why the fans come on boards because they want to. I don't know, because they want to. That's why. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Sometimes a carrot is just a carrot. Something like that. Anyway, thanks for listening.